Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Vedic astrology coach, Rajat Kapoor, and welcome to my channel, The Legit Astrologer. Today, I'm going to talk about some global predictions between April through July 2025. This is a follow-up in terms of my recent prediction, which I made on 16th of March about the earthquake in Myanmar. In one of my videos, I made a prediction that there could be not one, but two mid to high intensity level earthquakes around the region of Myanmar. This was something which I was able to predict using some historical astrological combinations, certain transits from a regional point of view is concerned. So this presentation in the next few minutes will cover natural disasters or some of the global events that we could expect over the next couple of months. Now, the idea of making this video is not to fearmonger, is to create a sense of awareness because I have spent some time in terms of doing research, looking at historical analysis, and of course, Vedic astrology is a huge mechanism for us to be prepared for any unforeseen events based on certain regions that have been identified. Let's hope that we take this positively. So, a little about my Myanmar earthquake prediction. This prediction was made on 16th of March that there will be at least two mid to high intensity earthquakes around the region, and this happened unfortunately on 28th of March. There were not one but two major earthquakes which happened during this region, and of course, Myanmar and Thailand were impacted. There were two powerful earthquakes that happened, followed by aftershocks. And of course, there was a lot of devastation in terms of life and displacement, and also a lot of infrastructure damage. Of course, my prayers to the loss of life. More than 3,000 people so far have lost their life, so it's quite unfortunate. But it's equally important for us to be prepared. Now, what can I expect over the next few months based on some of the astrological transits? So, I have taken into account the recent solar eclipse that happened in the sign of Pisces, the sixth planetary conjunction, Rahu and Ketu's conjunction in the sign of Pisces, and Rahu aspecting Mars in the watery sign of Cancer, it is debilitated. So I've taken into account important astrological transits and from a historical point of view, what has happened during these times. So what could we expect for the region, particularly Southeast Asian region? So historical transits suggest there is a possibility of more earthquakes and a tsunami kind of situation in 2025 within the Southeast Asian region, which includes Indonesia, north of New Zealand, and west of Australia. So this belt that you see here, which is around Indonesia, we could expect some disturbance that could happen here within this region, which is around the Java Sea. So there's a possibility of a mid to high intensity earthquake, which could trigger a tsunami kind of a situation. And west from Australia and north of New Zealand. So this area here is also sensitive over the next couple of months with some high intensity earthquakes. I expect this area to not have significant impact on human lives, but it could impact some of the nearby islands. If it creates tsunami and if it reaches the land, the coastal side, then of course this could trigger certain devastation here. So we must pay careful attention to two of these regions. Another region that is sensitive is Japan, but Japan usually is high seismic zone, so of course it's very prone to earthquakes in some of these events, and it's a very well prepared country, but that should not trigger a tsunami. Otherwise, it would be a cause of concern for Japan as well between April through July. Spread the awareness. Please share this with your friends, with your people who you know. I hope the intensity is not very high, and let's stay safe and pray for yourself first, and of course, for everyone else's protection. Now, next up, what I expect is flooding across Central Europe and southern China. This is also based on historical transits. There could be floods in Central Europe and also southern China region. This could unfortunately cause a water-related disease, and there could be a bit of an outbreak. So this belt here, which covers Central Europe region from Germany through Romania and Bulgaria. So Germany, Austria, Hungary, parts of Serbia and Romania as well could be impacted by severe flooding situation. This could also occur between April through July based on historical transits. And the other region that could be impacted by these severe floods is China, more on the southeast region of China that covers the Guangdong province and Fujian province. So this region, and of course Taiwan, can also be significantly impacted by some of the regional disturbances. So we could expect mid to high intensity storms and flood kind of situation between April to July that could cause some infrastructure damage and some devastation, some disturbance from a regional point of view based on the historical transits. Again, let's hope that the intensity is not very high and stay safe. And again, continuously pray for yourself and your loved ones. Historically, based on certain transits, similar floods occurred in Central Europe on not one but multiple occasions. So, which makes me believe that we should be prepared. Thankfully, in today's world, the infrastructure, the government, the leadership, there's a very good response team, disaster management teams, and is very much prepared. The resources are there to support, evacuate, and help minimizing the loss of human life. So, thankfully, that should play into account. What else can we expect in terms of other global concerns and wars that are happening? Wars are not likely to stop in the coming months because, based on these situations and circumstances, the genocide is expected to continue. There are high chances of genocide and, of course, war based crimes as well. There could be some heinous crimes that could come to global attention, which could call for greater strictness, enforcement of law and order, and a situation could be such, maybe some crimes that we've never heard before. So let's watch this space and, of course, ensure that law and order is maintained. So it will call for a significant shift in law and order in some of the Southeast Asian countries and also the Western part of the world. And based on conjunction in the sign of Pisces, in the nakshatra of Jupiter here, there could be threat to prominent political leaders and social activists in the Western part of the world. So this is again based on certain astrological transits. Last time it was 1968 when Rahu and Saturn came together in the sign of Pisces. It was in Revati Nakshatra, in Mercury's Nakshatra. But this time again, there could be a threat to some of these leaders. So let's all stay safe and pray for the safety of everyone in this world. Let's quickly understand some key environmental approaches that could be very helpful for all of us. Firstly, reducing human-induced seismicity. What does this mean? We need to regulate industrial activities such as mining, extraction. There has to be strict policies around all of these events because they have a greater chance of triggering earthquake kind of situations. So I'm trying to spread awareness here. Monitoring reservoir-induced seismicity, so controlled dams, reservoirs, control of water levels is very essential. Protecting natural shock absorbers is very essential. So we must protect our forest, our wetlands, and we must stand against deforestation. That is something where we need to be very firm in terms of taking our stand because the more trees we uproot, we are playing with Mother Nature, and of course, it could have severe consequences. Sustainable urban planning is also the need of the hour. We could avoid major constructions of certain fault lines and also investing in safe infrastructure. Countries are very much aware of fault lines, so there has to be some construction related control or investing in safe infrastructure, which are these shock resistant materials, more of recycled materials as well that could be shock resistant. That is something which we should encourage to use. Early warning systems. Technologically, we are very advanced as far as the world is concerned. So increased seismic monitoring networks, they provide timely warnings to people in order to be prepared, and including oceanic sensors as well. There is a need of greater oceanic sensors for tsunamis and triggering any awareness related to it. So these are the key environmental approaches that I'd like to summarize. And most importantly, we must do some good prayers because I'd like to close at a good note with a beautiful prayer to Lord Vishnu for sustenance. It goes like Madhyata Vyadipam Dugdha Sindhu Kanyadhvam Dhiya Dhiyayami Sadvaham Buddhe Shuddhe Vridhe Chasadhaye. This is a beautiful prayer to Lord Vishnu because he is the governing force for sustenance, for our protection. This prayer strengthens our pillars, our four pillars, which are the four Kendra houses in Vedic astrology. Your first house, which is about enlightenment, your fourth house, which is about purification, your seventh house, which is about improvement, and the 10th house, which is about perfection, helps us focus on dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the fundamental pillars. And this is the kind of direction that the world should head into, to focus on our pillars. Because remember, karma is definitely your birthright, but we do not have the right on the fruits. This is where free will come into account. This is where we need to focus on free will. And in terms of taking certain decisions ourselves for the protection and betterment of our environment. I once again hope and believe that my predictions turn out to be wrong. They turn out to be false. I do not intend to fearmonger, but create a sense of awareness through my genuine research in Vedic astrology based on historical transits and for the protection of this mankind. Thank you very much. God bless you all.